My name is Peter Tallman. I'm the president and CEO of Klondike Gold Corp. As you could probably figure from the title of our company name, we're a gold exploration company looking for the source of the Klondike placer, the iconic placer gold source from the Klondike region in the Yukon. Also, as Jay said previously, there is a kind of a long speculative history that because no one has found any gold in bedrock there for the last 120 years, basically, that it's all been eroded away. So yes, and we're doing modern exploration, really the following up on exploration from the 60s and some in the 80s and a little bit in the 90s, you're going to see in a minute. Because it's the Klondike, we are located, the claims themselves are located directly outside the town of Dawson. It was formerly the capital of the Yukon until the mid-50s. It's down on the bottom right, so that photo, it's a stunning place to do work. One point I will make, because we're directly outside of the town of Dawson, we're on services. This is the Yukon, the far north, except that we have the best infrastructure in my estimation of any of the companies that are exploring there, because we're 20 kilometers, we get up in the morning, fill up the gas station and drive 20 kilometers to the drill. Bear that in mind because it has a bearing on the valuation as it comes. Why would you invest in Klondike Gold? Number one, we're backed by Frank Giustra and the Fiore Group. Frank is a major shareholder. This is in no particular order, but lately in the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a huge investment by gold majors into the area, and again, I'm going to show that. But all the majors, with the exception of Ashanti, are in the Klondike directly around us now. Klondike Gold itself, we own 527 square kilometers of ground, covers the entirety of the historic Klondike gold placer fields. That includes everything that's uphill from where the gold is now in the placers, which is where the sources are. The property itself covers entirely the largest unexplained gold geochemical anomaly on the planet, and that is a 20 million ounce anomaly. One of the more important things for you is that in October, November of 2016, we drilled 17 holes. The press release came out in January, which it was dead at that time. But we've effectively made a discovery, a significant one, I think, that will hopefully rewrite the history of the Klondike, but it definitely it suggests that we found at least one of the sources, and I'm going to show that. That's going to be the focus of this talk. Our current share price is a little less than what Jay said. It's come down. It's 22 cents today. Our market cap is 15 million. We have $3 million in cash, which means that the market is valuing our property itself at $12 million, which is incredibly low relative to any peer. Yep. The only thing I really want to focus on, the major shareholders, management, officers, and insiders, we own 50% of the company. And just for clarity, none of us are in to make 10 cents a share. What we're hoping for is we do discover the source of the Klondike or multiple sources and sell this to majors, which is what's gone on around us. So some of the companies that are in, basically this huge list, there's been in the last 6 years $1 billion of investment by majors into projects directly around us. 90% of that money amount has gone into gold. The only one is Barclays, which is invested in a zinc deposit. And 4 of the 5 top gold producers in the world are here. The only one that isn't is Ashanti, which is in Africa. So what we're focused on, just to give you a little bit of a background of why the majors are here, the Tintina Gold Province is one of the most prolific gold belts in the world that's unmined. And it's been documented for about 50 years, or the 30 to 50 years of these intrusion-related gold systems. And they're all Cretaceous in age, so it's 100 million years old, and they're all hosted by granite, and there's usually a lot of low-grade gold there. what's happened, and there's a lot more red stars I could have put on that map. So what we've just discovered, what's been happening for the Underworld Resources in the late 2000s discovered a gold deposit. It's an orogenic gold model, which was originally the orogenic gold model was grouped with the intrusion-related gold systems, and what's been modeled by geologists since is that it's a totally different beast. And so in the last couple of years, Golden Saddle, which is Underworld's discovery, now owned by Kinross, the Coffee discovery, which was Kaminak, now owned by Gold Corp. Three Aces is an orogenic gold discovery that is now being optioned by Newmont and us. And we are the last of the unaffiliated orogenic properties, and those four diamond, the orogenic gold model, that's basically what's attracted most of the $1 billion in investment from majors. That's what they're looking for in the Yukon. The prize here is, again, as I said, 20 million ounces of gold in placers. It's the same geology and same age as the California Mother Lode Belt. There's been 40 million ounces of gold found in California. Underneath that, in the bedrock, 220 million ounces of gold have been mined. In the Klondike, there's 20 million ounces of gold sitting on surface there that's been mined, and 0 ounces found in bedrock. So our claims cover the entire district. In 2016, Klondike Gold bought the other half of the entire district from a multi-generational placer and bedrock geology mining family who are now significant shareholders. And so what we've developed are particularly three targets now. Lone Star is the one I'm going to talk to you about immediately. There's Quartz Creek is what we're calling it. It's at the headwaters of Quartz Creek, which is like the 4th or 5th largest gold producer in the district. There's a 20 square kilometer soil anomaly on that we don't know much about. And finally, in Gold Run down at the bottom end, another really prolific gold producing creek. Teck had a mine there that they mined 30 or 40 or 50,000 ounces of placer gold from, and the ridges around it, we found visible gold in outcrop in 7 locations in Gold Run. So I'm hoping we get there too. But the focus is this slide, which is Lone Star. And in 2016, we drilled 17 holes in that yellow rectangle at Lone Star. And that, for the first time, what we were targeting in the Klondike schist is disseminated gold, not gold in quartz veins. And of the 17 holes we drilled, 14 of them, which were on target, all 14 of them hit. The best hole was 2.4 grams over 37 meters, starting at surface. Basically, the entire 700 meters of it, as we understand it, is mineralized. And the average of the 14 holes that hit was 1.5 grams over 25 meters. All of that is at surface. It's directly coincident with an old 1980s golden soil anomaly that runs 4 kilometers along the ridge as you see it. So what this is a Google Earth image looking south, that the blobs, the colored blobs are soil anomalies. The red is 200 ppb and above. It's a north-facing frozen slope. So soils have a hard time developing. If you get a soil anomaly of that magnitude, that is a fantastic result for a north-facing frozen slope. If you look at it though, Victoria Gulch is the gulch on the left, is a very small creek and has had a lot of gold produced from it in placer. And then Bonanza Creek at the bottom has had 4 million ounces come out of that segment of white. And if you look over on the backside, it's a ridge, so we're kind of going up over a hump, and you go into El Dorado Creek where there was 3 million ounces of gold. The importance here is what we see at Lone Star, and in an orogenic model, you predict that there's an underlying regional thrust, and above it is where the gold is developing. And so what we see at Lone Star is exactly that, and we believe that thrust, that major structure, continues through the hill and comes out on El Dorado Creek as well. They're related. We're going to test that this summer. However, the Lone Star target itself is of such size that if we're successful, basically I can be out of a job because companies will take us over. In detail, basically the round circle, the first hole we drilled last year, the 17, was the best one, and the first thing we're going to do in 2 weeks' time is drill next right beside it. That trend is open in all directions. That's the IP data. Again, the gold is hosted or associated with pyrite, so we can image it with IP directly and drill it. The IP survey starts next week. We're doing detailed 3D IP. It was a survey used to define the next-gen uranium deposit. It is a really fantastic state-of-the-art survey in Canada. And lastly, back one. Our neighbors, our direct neighbors, here we are. Dawson is the dot at the top. Our 55-kilometer-long property is in yellow. Our neighbor to the south of us is about 100 kilometers. That's the underworld, now Kinross. And then further to the south of that, about 150 kilometers, is the Kaminak, now Gold Corp. The Gold Corp haul road goes right through our property for 30 kilometers. We use that to get to work every day. If we make a discovery, if you imagine we make, well, an equivalent, coffee, 5 million ounces. If we find 5 million ounces on Klondike Gold's property, it's right outside of Dawson. It's worth a heck of a lot more than $500 million just because they don't have to go 200 kilometers out in the bush. Thank you very much.